Welcome back to another episode of Eric's Camping Adventures. We're going to go on another search today looking for some beautiful places. Really don't know how cold it was last night or how cold it is right now, but my Propel bottle froze sitting on the picnic table, and wow, pretty nippy out there. It's time to get going. As I was driving through the campground, I encountered a different kind of beauty. It appeared to be fog that was simply freezing on the grass and on the trees. It was beautiful. It's hard to see where I was going at times, but beautiful. The area that we are entering here, at least I believe, can't tell much from the fog, but it is the Valley Vidal, and it is a elk calving area in the springtime, and it is closed to any kind of travel off of the main forest road. It is beautiful, it is green, and it is lush during that time. On the left here is a parking area, and it is for backpackers. Wouldn't recommend doing that during elk calving season. Based upon Gaia, it does look as if right here we are passing through the top of the mountains, and then we're going to come down the valley on the other side. I wanted to stop here and do some drone flights through this valley, but I have to admit that the vast expanse when you come out into the open area is so broad and beautiful, even though it's dry and brown. It's just awesome. Through my shaking plastic window, you can see the fog back up in the mountain. Off to the left, that is west. Those are some peaks, and I guess one of those is probably Ortiz Peak. The solitude of having this forest road to myself, just the sound of the Jeep engine and the wind at my little plastic window was good. Off to the left, you can start to see that a creek is forming. When you get to the bottom of the elevation of these mountains, there are two streams that come together and form a third, and it is a beautiful area. This is one of the most beautiful natural places I have ever seen. Michelle and I came through here in the springtime 3 years ago. It was all bright green from the spring, but wow, this is something. The canyons and the streams have a lot of different names in this area, and I had trouble keeping them straight, but one thing that I can say is that in the solitude of late fall, this is a magical place. This road here is called the Castilla Canyon Road. No surprise, the creek is called the Costilla Creek. Intermittently, there were some tents and some cars pulled off to the side of the road. In this case, it was a father teaching his son to fish. On the left, the west side of the road is peppered with pullouts for camping and for trout fishing. There are a lot of these along the road here, and I just pulled down one to see what it was like and what it would be like to camp down in there. This is definitely a return to spot just to come to one of these dispersed campsites. We started this drive at the peaks of the mountains coming down the Valley Vidal, and now we're entering into some canyons with the hue of rock that just changes the color of everything, and the Costilla Creek runs right beside it, beside the road in the canyon. If you need a little bit more sophistication after a few days of dispersed camping or campground camping, there is a much more developed campground right at the base of the canyon here. If you see that little line running right down the middle of the road, there was a fifth wheel being towed by a pickup truck, and he was just draining his RV as he went down the road. It was quite interesting. When I went by him, he was very reactive and blew his horn, very angry. It was just a thought. If you're going to go out into the backcountry for a little recreation, a little time to get away from stress, don't cause yourself stress by doing weird things and then being hyper vigilant and reactive when you are out there, because that is counterproductive to what you're trying to accomplish by getting away from it all. Don't do weird things and then become kind of like paranoid. Eventually, the canyons faded, but gave way to another beauty, and that was the deciduous trees and the aspens coming out of the canyon. We are headed out into a much more developed area now, and I'm basically going to head west from the Cimarron National Forest over to the Rio Grande, and I'm going to look for some camping. There's some BLM land down by the Rio Grande, and once I get out to 522, I'm going to look for those campgrounds and see which one appeals to me the most. I think I still have time to check out and see which one is down by the river and more likely to be protected from the wind, and maybe even have some warmth to radiate out from the sun warming the rocks. Just see what's down there. Well, thank you for joining me again for another episode. Come back next time and we're going to look at the Rio Grande Canyon.